Hello, I am Linda Bell with Park University located in Parkville, Missouri. My project primarily targets the Intermediate Accounting 1 course. Intermediate Accounting 1 is a tough course. It's the first course that primarily focuses on the accounting major. The instructor's expectation takes an enormous leap from those expectations at the principal's course level. The reading level is much, much higher. At times, most intermediate textbooks quote from the FASB standards, so those are written at a professional level. The problem-solving skills required at the intermediate level require much more critical analysis and cognitive reasoning. So it's not a big surprise that the study skills that students found successful in the principal's courses no longer effective at the intermediate level. Unfortunately, a common study method is to memorize rather than study for understanding. This is quite problematic because the Intermediate 1 course is often viewed as a weed-out course for the accounting major. So either students rise to the occasion and figure out how to succeed in the course, or they move on to another major. Let me acknowledge that some weeding out is good. Those of us in higher ed commonly see students choosing accounting as a major, mostly because their parents or someone they know encourage them. In those cases, they may not have the natural intellectual bent necessary for accounting. If you don't work well with numbers and naturally enjoy thinking analytically, you aren't going to like or enjoy accounting. But what about those students that we are weeding out not because they don't have the natural ability, but rather because they didn't figure out how to think like an accountant? We also have students that choose to bail out of the accounting major because they just don't see the value. The course is an immense amount of work, and they naively don't see the value for them personally. The bottom line is that we are losing students out of the accounting major because they are not properly motivated to work hard in their courses, and also because they lack the necessary study skills to perform well in the upper level courses. To address these issues, I came up with an idea for this past academic year to create what I call coaching assignments that are integrated throughout the Intermediate 1 course. These assignments are quite simple and easily completed by students. They are designed to be a minor component of the course so as not to take away from the heavy focus on financial accounting content and professional skill development. I only assigned 6% of the course points towards them. Even so, I discovered these assignments made a huge impression on students. The assignments target all types of student populations. For instance, at Park, our home campus consists mostly of traditional age students. However, our other 39 campus centers target the non-traditional student. Students representing each subpopulation have their own unique challenges. We also have an ethnically diverse population of students. These coaching assignments were effective for all subpopulations of students, so are transferable to a wide array of campus settings. My point being is that these coaching assignments can be easily duplicated by anyone teaching intermediate accounting with minimal adjustment to their course. The first coaching activity addresses study skills. Following the first exam, students complete a self-evaluation regarding their study efforts both and outside of the classroom. That's what you're seeing on your screen right now. I had to slightly modify the evaluation forms for the online platforms because those don't formally meet as a class. In the past, I have verbally shared with students in class how to study better. This tended to go in one ear and out the other. However, the self-evaluation forces students to listen and pay attention, as well as own their actions. This is somewhat akin to a work-related performance review where an employee evaluates themselves and then that is compared with the supervisor's perception. However, in this setting, there's only the self-evaluation. As the instructor, I often provide feedback after students have submitted their evaluations, but I can't provide feedback about how a student studies outside of class until he or she shares that with me. I usually write a note or two confirming his or her plans, or I add additional suggestions. That way students know I am reading their work, and I also care to provide feedback. So we can kind of go through this. There's an introductory area, and then I have areas where students evaluate how well they are prepared for class. Please note that this is an electronic document, so they can, do their check mark. They can even, write comments, I liked this or whatever. But they can write in the document, and so it fits well with the online platform. So they evaluate preparation for class, during class, do they take notes, are they actively engaged in the class? At the end of the chapter, have they done the homework? If they didn't understand something, did they ask questions or at least document it so that they can ask questions? Do they study with groups? I mean, clearly, students that study with others tend to outperform those that don't. And then just, their productivity and behaving in a professional manner. And then after they fill out that evaluation, they set goals for themselves. And specific goals. Often, since this is after the first test, one of the goals may be, to raise their grade from a C to a B, or pass or get a passing grade, whatever it might be. But then the plan of action is specifically what they're going to do. And so they will look at these ideas up here. If there are things here that they haven't been doing, they'll put those into their plan of action. Now, the reality is, just because they set goals and have a plan of action, it doesn't mean they'll actually follow through. However, this does create a vehicle to provide a foundation for goal setting for students. So those students that want to take advantage of it, it's here and it's an opportunity for them. And sometimes students will take to it right away. For instance, one of my traditional students set an action plan that he was going to reduce his work hours so that he could devote more time to his core studies. And it was just a part-time job. He still lived at home, so again, he had the ability to reduce his work hours. And the interesting thing is, for me, is he actually did that, and he raised his grade from a B to an A. On the second exam, he got an A compared to the B that he scored on the first exam. And, the bottom line is he discovered, there just aren't shortcuts sometimes to learning. Cramming the night before just isn't going to cut it. Okay, and then the process will continue after the second exam. Students will fill out another evaluation, same sort of thing. So same criteria, except this time they're going to evaluate, their prior goals. Did they achieve those or not? And then if not, are they modifying those? And, do they want to set some new goals? The way students just receive points for completing these evaluations. There really isn't a way for judging whether something is completed better than one student completes it better than another. So the points are just awarded for completion. And it's not a game of trying to evaluate students based on who's studying the best. The point of this whole assignment is so that students can be brutally honest. So it's creating a safe place so that they can be brutally honest with themselves, and they share that with the instructor. Okay, and then you're going to see I have the similar sort of thing for the online class. That's going to be modified for the weekly participation. There's recorded lectures for them to listen to, and just asking, are they watching those? So there's the evaluation one and the subsequent evaluation for them. The second type of a coaching assignment is researching accounting certifications. So shortly before the first exam, I began these assignments, and it requires students to research the CPA, the CMA, and then part 3 has them choose, a certification of interest, like the CIA, CFP, CFE, CGMA, whatever they might be interested in. To simplify the assignment and assure a more thorough gathering of information, this assignment is completed in the cloud. A Word type document that you're seeing on your screen is created with these questions, and I upload that into Google Docs. And then essentially it becomes a wiki that students work on collaboratively to complete. So each student, as you can see, as a minimum, they're required to, to enter 3 substantive posts. And so that's not it's not a very demanding sort of thing from students. And when the assignment is finished, because the class worked on it collaboratively, then students have a comprehensive document describing each of the certifications and the value of each of those certifications. I found students became much more dedicated to the intermediate course when they discovered the opportunities afforded them in the field of accounting and discovered what it takes to make that happen for themselves. For me, no longer did students view me as this mean teacher set out to torture them. Rather, they saw class assignments as something designed to enable them to succeed after college. So studying dollar value LIFO became more relevant, even though they're not seeing it being applied in a career setting yet. Research cases using the FASB codification database is now understood as training for the CPA exam and future work life. Likewise for writing professional memos and creating Excel spreadsheets. So the combination of these two types of coaching assignments, this accounting certification assignment and the self-evaluation assignments combined, were very effective in both motivating students to work hard and enabling students to study for success. And I'll share the results of this with you in just a little bit. Near the end of the semester, I have students complete a pre-formatted template to create their own professional development plan. And this is the third type of coaching activity that I assign. As you can see, it addresses many of the competencies identified within the AICPA core competency framework. And then I also, again, and this is an electronic document, you can see, you can write in each of these and it's going to expand. If a student writes more, this is going to get larger. It's just going to adjust to whatever they're writing. I'm just writing some gibberish in there to just show that. But it's an electronic document that can be completed in an online environment. Now, to help give them ideas of things that they might have done or what they can do in the future, I also have a list. I messed up this, but suggestions. So these 10 items that they set goals for, 11 items, I have examples for all of those. So I do provide them examples to help them think of ideas of things that would count for each of these categories. And I just found, this professional development plan, it's just a natural follow-up to the two prior coaching assignments. It's a longer-term goal-setting exercise for students, and it enables them to apply the career research information that they discovered in that assignment. And then the other thing, once this plan is developed, then students will revisit their professional development plan in each of the upper level accounting courses. So it will continually, the plan is to keep them continually focused on their plan. Of course, in the next course, things may have changed in their lives and they're going to modify it. So it's a fluid sort of development plan. Overall, the outcomes were positive, and actually they were only positive. I didn't have one negative outcome or one negative feedback received from students regarding these assignments. Here's some quantitative data that I put together. I looked at Teaching Intermediate Accounting 1 at the Parkville campus fall of 2013, where I didn't have any of these embedded coaching assignments, and compared that with my class in the fall of 2014, same location. And then also for spring 2015, we have 8-week terms in our online platform. Intermediate Accounting 1 was first launched for that term, and I had 13 students in that class. So what was kind of interesting, in fall 2013, 27% of the class increased their grade from exam 1 to exam 2. Now, I will say, given it's sort of a small campus and a traditional campus, that, I had students come in outside of class or right at the end of class and talk to me, how can they improve what they're doing study-wise to improve their grade. So my point being is that even these students would have had some coaching on their study habits from exam 1 to exam 2. But what we're seeing is just a huge increase in the number of students or the percentage of the class increasing their exam score. And so my premise is that it's not just giving them the information about study skills, which was my first coaching assignment, but it's coupling that with the career research. because once students saw the value of the major and how it's going to benefit them personally, they got a lot more motivated and then took those self-evaluations much more seriously than they would have otherwise. So I think this statistic right here says a lot. Um, and then this last one, the percentage of students that actually passed the course or completed the course. So, if I took, in this case, 27% of the class, they either withdrew from the course or they failed the course. And over here, we have a better percentage of students completing the course. So good outcomes quantitatively. And then qualitatively, as part of the course evaluation process, I had students, I asked them to write me just in a narrative form, feedback about what they thought about each of the assignments. I will leave that to you to read. You can read those on your own. That's in my material that I submitted. But just in general, let me go over some of the highlights. Students thought the self-evaluations provided them a lot of good information about how to study. And then also they liked the goal setting, that being able to set goals for themselves and then think about, whether it worked or not. So, sometimes their goal, what they planned to do didn't work, or as can be expected because they're human, they didn't really do what they said they were going to do. And so they had to, acknowledge that. So anyhow, but they found it valuable. I mean, I had a student that had a 4.0 coming into the Intermediate 1 course. She got a C on her first test. Well, that really got her attention. Well, that's because she was used to memorizing in all her, in so many of her other courses. So, providing them information about how to think more like an accountant and how to study analytically to be able to analyze something instead of just memorizing was very helpful for her. The other feedback about the career certification, overall, students seem to really enjoy this particular assignment. For one thing, they viewed it as a nice change of pace, taking them away from studying financial accounting topics, so it was kind of a nice little vacation from that. They also liked that it was a collaborative effort, so it wasn't a heavy burden. Students appreciate having a finished resource that they could take away from the course that provided details about the various certifications. Most were unaware of certifications other than the CPA credential, and of those aware of the CPA credential, most were unaware of the actual requirements to achieve the CPA credential. So many described it as an assignment that could increase their awareness of different accounting career paths. And so one student indicated that while he was interested in finance and was going to double major in finance and accounting, he actually was going to focus more of his attention now on the accounting major because it had more career opportunities. And then the last coaching assignment, the professional development plan, I was anticipating this would mostly benefit the traditional student, and that our older students, like in their, the non-traditional student, who's typically in their 30s, that maybe they would have already been developing their own personal development plans. But the feedback was that they actually hadn't been doing that. And so it didn't seem to matter whether they were traditional age or older students. They found that very beneficial. And so they found, personalizing their goals and setting action plans made them aware of what they personally needed to do while they're in college to get that first job. And also, it broadened their horizon. It made them aware that they needed to be doing more just than completing courses in order to get these certifications and get the kind of job that they were hoping for. And so overall, the student feedback was that they very much valued completing this professional development plan. I found it interesting that some of the students, especially the non-traditional students, conveyed that they perceived collectively that the coaching assignments were a means of my mentoring them. And I'm quite pleased that they felt that I personally mentored them. However, I think the beauty of these assignments is that it's really a structure. It's a mentoring structure that anyone can put into their course. So whether I'm teaching the course or someone else, this can be easily duplicated and implemented by anyone in any of their upper level accounting courses. The last thing I think I was asked to talk about are future adjustments. The one thing that I think that I will do different next time focuses on this professional development plan. I didn't have students complete this till almost the very end of the semester or the term of the course term. And I think that I will rethink that and probably assign it about three-fourths of the way through the course so that students will submit it to me and then I can give them feedback on that and then have them resubmit a revised and finished professional development plan. There were things I would have liked to have said to the student, and because I had them submitted at the end, there just was an opportunity to do that. And then the second thing in terms of, future adjustments or is that, I'm hoping when I go to the present this at the AAA that I will get feedback from colleagues, giving me ideas. What are additional ideas for study skills that maybe I should be including in that self-evaluation? And likewise, for the professional development plan, ideas for examples to provide for students. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to sharing my coaching assignments in August with you at the AAA meeting in Chicago.